Hello everybody and welcome to this FNAP webinar about e-invoicing. I'm Jan Silverman and with me today I have Michael Nielsen and I have René Brummel. And we're going to talk about how FNAP can help you with the new e-invoicing standards, including Stuckfert and Ex-Rechnung, and how we can transfer documents using Pepool. A little housekeeping before we get started. This webinar will be recorded and it will be available on our YouTube channel, hopefully sometime this afternoon. And also, if you have any questions as we go along, please use the question tool in GoToWebinar, and we will answer them during the presentation or at the end of the presentation, depending on how it fits in. So with that, let's get started. And let me just give you an overview of what we're doing in FNAP. And of course, this will be about e-invoicing, but just to set the scene. So we have our almost 100 standard reports that we deliver out of the box. We have our designer tool where you can modify our report pack, and you can of course build your own reports. We have our direct print capabilities, enabling you to print directly from Business Central without any user interaction. We have our file access, where you can access local files or network drives, so supporting this kind of hybrid environment between cloud and having local files. And then most recently, we have the FNAP e-invoicing, which is of course what we want to talk about today, including transportation using the Pepool network. And the good thing here is that as always, we have everything included in our license. We have this, what we call the all-in-one license. So if you already have FNAP, e-invoicing is there for you. And if you need it, well, then you get all the other stuff at the same time, hopefully to support your business. And also, what we talk about, totally, not just the invoicing, but everything. There's a free trial available, so you can try this out before taking a final decision. So with this opening, let's jump into what we're really going to talk about. And with that, I'd like to switch over to you, Michael, to talk about e-invoicing.
Thanks, Jan. I am unmuted and
I can hear you.
Yeah, great. Now you should see my screen. Second. Okay, so Jan, can you see PowerPoint?
Yes.
Good. Okay, we're good to go. So why e-reporting? Because as all of you know, FNAP is about reports. We can print reports and create PDF, but e-invoicing is the next big thing. And the main driver is that it becomes mandatory in an increasing number of countries. And we see in the next years this will grow, and we'll also see that this tendency will grow into what we call e-reporting, which is reporting to the government. So this is a key driver that you actually your customers need to do this. They cannot choose to do it or not. They simply are asked to by the government. Beyond that, it also saves a lot of money. So data entry is automated. You can avoid a lot of typing errors and also achieve something that can process your documents a lot faster than you can do today by manual typing, or even if you do also auto-scan in your invoices. So so there's the stick and the carrot in this. So it's definitely going in that directions. As usual, what we do with FNAP is that we look at simplifying these things. So if any of you have worked with EDI or any of these other standards out there, it takes a lot of hours to put in, and you need special expertise to do so. So we've really been focusing on and having a simple and fast installation. And we're also looking into enhancing BC and not going to replace some standard BC. So we are enhancing BC in a lot of places. And that also includes the, of course, the PEPOL standards that I will get back to. Especially for French in Germany, we support the German standards, which is really important, like SUGFAT and ECRECNUM. And we support the full scenario of creating and importing the invoices and also credit memo and other documents. What's new to FONAV is that we have a PEPOL transport. I will show this later. And also really important is that this has to be secure, because this is sending customers data, including the complete pricing information and the customer registry. So it's really important that this data doesn't go anywhere else than to the right place, because they can basically close down the customer's business if these data handled in the wrong hands. And again, like Jens said, this is included in the FONAV license, so there's no extra cost for this. And you think that I only want to use the Primality stuff, it's still damn cheap compared to what you see out there. I won't go into a lot of details about Germany, but just to summarize what's going on down there, because Germany is the biggest market for this in Europe, and it's a key driver from this. And everybody who also works with the companies in Germany or have to receive invoices from Germany will also be impacted with this. So 2025, that's a month from now, every company down there will must be able to receive e-documents, period, and there's no exceptions here. And then in 2 years from now, big companies, not that big, but mid-sized and big companies must also be able to receive invoices. And then in 2028, everybody needs to be able to both receive and send invoices. So that's a really short timeline, because in Germany right now everything is more or less paper. So that's really a big step for them. In Germany, there's different formats. Some of them are used throughout Europe, but the three of them is SUGFAT, which is a format where you still have a PDF, but this PDF has to be in a PDF archive format and contain XML documents, which is called ECRECNUM. And ECRECNUM is the second format. You can also set that alone without your PDF. And then the third format is the cousin of the PEPOL BIS3 document standards, which is common for all of Europe. But it's more or less the same with some extra rules in there that we also support. The good thing about this that FONAV support all these formats, and also the what's coming on later on. So we'll make sure that you're safe and support all these different formats that you can use for receiving and sending your e-documents. It's a little bit deeper, and not to go very deep into this about SUGFAT and ECRECNUM. So we support invoice and credit memos, import and export, and same thing for ECRECNUM. And more important here is that we also support the customizational mapping between the business central tables and the XML formats here that you can do, because in a lot of cases you can live with the standard format, but in some cases you want to tweak the format a bit, sending additional attachment with the documents or changing the details on the document lines. But you can do that with FONAV as well, and modify your documents, and that's fairly easy. But let's look at how this works inside FONAV. So I already promised you that this was easy to set up and run. So let's show you how this works. The prerequisite is I need to install the FONAV e-invoicing app that comes from AppSource, or from for on-prem it comes from the FONAV website. And then when I get this, I can go to FONAV setup page in the FONAV product to set it up. By default, the SUGFAT profile down here is extended, which is the most common one, and the version is 22 in here. So 23 will come out next week, so that will be supported because that's going to be mandatory from January 1st in Germany. But basically, this is set up by default, so you don't really need to set something out, setting up anything for this. And to use this, I can basically use any FNAV report that produces an invoice or credit memo, but it also works for the built-in BC reports or for custom reports. So I'll simply go up here and run the standard Microsoft Word invoice report to show you how this works. So typically you would use the scenario where you go into BC and do post and send. But in this case, I'm just going to cut out the scenario where I can show you how to produce the PDF, but that will be part of the post and send process. But in this case, I'll just run the report and show you how the document is produced and what's in it. So run the standard business LLC sales invoice report, and now it's done. And if I go and look at it with Adobe Reader, I can see what's in there. I have to wait a second until Adobe detects what this is. So Adobe says this claims to be the PDF archive format because it cannot really determine that it actually is a conformant PDF a document. And in a lot of cases, actually, even though the PDF producer that's used out there are claiming that this is PDF archive, in most cases they're not. So we found out that the piece that Microsoft is using does not produce valid PDF-A documents, but that's another story. But our component does, and we have validated this again the SUGFAT tests and also other tests on this. So this is one thing you need before creating a valid SUGFAT document. The other thing is that you need to have a document attachment in here, and it has to be called Factur-X. In here. Now, if I open this file, you can see this is a XML document, and this is the standard X-Rechnung document in here that we produce. So again, this is very easy to set up, and also you can just use it. So whenever you produce a PDF document inside BC, it will contain this information if you turn on the FNAV pieces. X-Rechnung is more or less the same, and we can also import X-Rechnung and SUGFAT documents and the purchase part of Business Central, so you can get your purchase invoices and credit memos in there as well. But there's a lot more about this on our website, and if you have any questions, also please reach out to Jennifer, is also on this call. But let's move on. We have a lot of things to cover, and also we want to leave time for questions. So let me go back to presenter mode in here. So let's switch to Pepole, which is the new kid on the block. So Pepole has been in the process for many years, and actually it's the key people behind this are the people who grew out of the EDI industry and also the OE XML initiative. So actually the chief architect is Klaus, who I worked with at Navision to create the bits inside Navision back then. And he now architects the Pepole network. So it's more or less the same people who are really competent in this. And it's all about exchanging documents. So Pepole is basically a transport mechanism, and that's one part of it. And then there's also a set of document standards, and both are evolving over time. And so are we with it. So when you look at the Pepole transport, you can just think about how an email is sent over the internet. So first you need an address book, just like you have in Outlook. In this case, it's a central address book which is guarded by Pepole, and you need to be certified. So you cannot put spam into this. So in the case of FNAP, we have signed a contract with Pepol that we can post to this directory, and only the people who has this right can actually put things into the Pepol directory. And everything you send and receive needs to go through a participant in this directory. The other parts are the access points, which is the by the way, it's called the four-corner model because there's a sender and receiver, and then there's the access point in between. That's why it's called the four-corner model. So it's pretty simple. But when you think about the access points, think about how you do the email. So access points are the equivalent of having an email server, and you need one whenever you send and receive mails from over the internet. In this case, again, the access points are approved by Pepol, so we are approved by Pepol to have an access point, and that's validated. And also, there's a lot of security aspects in this, that it has to be secure and work in the right way. And again, this is also a few companies who have these access points to avoid that you can have spam and people will send mail that's impersonate and to be IKEA and send people invoices on furniture that they never bought. So there's a lot of security in here that enables you to avoid spams. But that said, the responsibility of taking what's on the invoice you receive is still up to the recipient. So the sender and we have no stake in this. So still, no matter if you get a PDF in an email, or you get with an invoice, or you get this over the Pepol, it's also up to the recipient to check if the result is correct. But I'll get back to that, how BC can help you with that as well. So again, Pepol Transport is it's a transport to Pepol, and FNAP is the registered Pepol access and also the address book provider. We also do automatic lookup of customers and vendors in the directory for you, and we support document validation. This is also important because every country has their own rules, which is defined by them, and we have a validation service that basically will reject the document if it's not compliant with where you want to send it. We only work on BC25X, and that's both cloud and on-prem, because there's pieces in Business Central that we need in here, and there'll also be new pieces being shipped by Microsoft in the future releases, and they simply don't exist in the old version, so we cannot support those. Typically, we ship FNAP products on AppSource or through our website, but in this case, this will ship with Business Central, and we don't know which version. It'll probably be BC 25.2, but it'll actually ship with Microsoft, so you can have the FNAP pieces with FNAP. But that said, Microsoft will not allow us to ship the enhanced capabilities where we enhance the rest of the Business Central app. So that will be in a separate app that will be an AppSource or come from the FNAP website. So if you just need the core capabilities, you'll get them from Microsoft. So there'll be a drop down inside Business Central where you can choose FNAP and you can work with that. And if you want the rest, and I can guarantee you we want that, you can just get it from our website. They are compatible with both solutions. And again, this is all included in the FNAP subscription and very cost efficient. So I think you need to talk with this. So Rene has created our security setup, which needs some explanation.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. So what we have in our Pepol network is 3 parts that all need to talk together. We have the Business Central, which is owned by the clients that contain all the business data. We have Azure, where we host our Pepol endpoints and where we do the validation and all sorts of other things. And then we have the Peppol network, where eventually the invoices need to go and where the incoming documents come from. So there are two parts of the security, Business Central to Azure and Azure to Business Central. That is all secured via OAuth. And we have the communication to the Peppol network, which is secured by certificates. And can you go to the next slide, Michael?
Yep.
So if you zoom into the Azure to Peppol security bits, you can see that we have incoming documents. All of the incoming documents are secured by certificates. This is a certificate that we have created and we have given to the Peppol network that the Peppol network can use to communicate with us. All incoming documents end up in our API management, where we do the security checks and some more checks. So nothing actually communicates to our endpoints directly. It's all filtered through the API management. And then the API management sends the authenticated requests onto our 4NAV Peppol endpoint. And all of the bits inside Azure are secured by OAuth with the Azure Managed Identities. So nothing inside Azure is even open or accessible to anything from the outside. That's only accessible to our own Azure bits. So the outgoing documents go from our 4NAV Peppol endpoint into the Peppol network, and that is also secured by a certificate. That's a certificate that we have obtained from the Peppol network. They have given to us. We store those certificates inside our Key Vault, and whenever they are needed, we fetch them from the Key Vault again with the Azure Managed Identity, so nothing can actually access our Key Vault to steal the certificates. Next slide, Michael.
Yes.
If we look at our Business Central to Azure and Azure to Business Central communication, we use OAuth 2.0 to secure that communication. And the first thing we need to do to use OAuth 2.0 is establish a trust relationship. So Business Central needs to trust the Peppol, the 4NAV Peppol Azure bits, and Azure needs to trust the Business Central tenant that is trying to communicate with it. So that's the trust relationship. And any outgoing call from Business Central gets an OAuth access token from that trust relationship, and any calls from the 4NAV Peppol endpoint into the incoming documents in Business Central also get authenticated through that trust relationship, through the Azure Active Directory, or as it's called right now, the Entra ID. Also here, all incoming communications into Azure run through API management, which does a part of the authentication, which frees up our 4NAV Peppol endpoint from having to do an awful lot of security, and it gives us a nice two-layer security model. If you can go to the next slide, Michael. Yep. Then we need to establish a trust relationship between Business Central and Azure, and this is different for on-prem and cloud. The process you see here is for cloud. For on-premise, this is also possible to establish a trust relationship, but in on-premise, we don't know where Business Central lives, so we can't actually send anything directly to Business Central, so a few manual steps are required. In Business Central Cloud, the first thing you do when you want to communicate with the Peppol, with our Azure Peppol network, is you need to create an Entra app, which says that you trust 4NAV. This needs to be done by an administrator in both Business Central and your Azure tenant. So it's not something that anyone can just do. And it is a manual step where you say, yes, I trust the 4NAV Azure Peppol network. Then the next thing we need is Business Central needs the credentials in order to send stuff to Azure. So Azure needs to start trusting Business Central. To do that, Azure Business Central will send a one-time passcode to Azure. Azure tests if that sender trusts 4NAV and if the one-time passcode is actually in Business Central. Then it creates an app registration where it learns to trust this Business Central tenant. And then finally, it injects the credentials directly into Business Central. And we can do that because the Business Central system already trusts our Azure app. Those are two separate calls, so they cannot be intercepted. And the calls are made directly to the standard Business Central endpoint, so they can't go anywhere else, which is, of course, why we need a separate manual solution for on-premise systems. Again, the one-time passcode is stored and used, so we cannot just inject credentials into any Business Central system. The Business Central system needs to trust our Azure tenant, and it needs to, the one-time passcode is checked just to see if it's already in the system. This is how we establish a trust relationship, so we can actually authenticate all of the calls from Business Central to Azure and vice versa. And that in the basics is the security, Michael. So back over to you.
Thanks, Ray. So the main reason why we dig into this is that when you deal with customers who have their own IT department or advisors, they will ask about this. And if you get the question, please reach out to us. We'll also post this on our website, so you can give them an overview of our security setup. But I hope you get the idea that this is state of the art, and we have taken no compromises to secure what goes on. Another detail here is that the Pepool network is what we call stateless. That means that Pepool does not save any documents in there. It's all on the sender and receiver part of this. But that said, the most products out there actually has a local copy of the documents that it sends and receives, which is a potential security risk. Of course, if you trust what they're doing, then you're okay. But having stuff in a database in a different country is never a fantastic idea because it can be hacked. With Fnav, we don't store anything, so we simply pass on the documents to BC, and if BC is not up and running, we simply tell the sender to resend the information. That's also been into the Pepool network that you do retries. So we basically don't store any documents in our Azure setup or anywhere else. Everything is either on the sender's part or inside BC. So there's nothing to be hacked in there, and you cannot get to the data in there. So again, Microsoft is doing a lot to make this easier. So they have created a fantastic framework for doing this, and they are still extended it, which makes it a lot easier to create this solution because it's also integrated heavily into both the sales and purchasing part of BC, which would be a huge integration task if we wanted to do all of it. So basically, what Microsoft offers is that it does a mapping between the Business Central tables and the Pepool document formats. And then it does some basic validation, which is really basic. Then it does all the in and outgoing document workflows, post and send, auto matching, document status, and also error handling, which is important here. Especially the auto matching is interesting because that also includes the using AI, and Microsoft is really investing heavily in this area to use AI to do this and create an auto matching that's really powerful in here and can save a lot of time and error handling. But that said, there's a manual setup, so you have to define all your workflows and set up to do this. There's nothing automatic in here. They also do simple customization of document mapping that you can use. It works on XML port, or you need to use the data exchange framework to do this. But more is coming this way as well. Then on top of that, we have created our Fnav solution, so we can of course create our address book into the Pepool address book. We can do lookup. We do the validation of the documents also locally. So if you are a Dutch customer, have a Dutch customer, the Dutch rules will be checked in here. We have preview of the documents, both for in and outgoing, and of course the transport of the documents to and from the Pepool network. We have an automatic setup that enables most of the manual steps, and also important, we have a demo setup. Because what we heard out there is that whenever you have to deal with Pepool, you need to find a cousin in France or Italy to actually test this, and you have to do the setup, which is it's quite clunky to do. But we have been able to do a demo setup where you can send the document to your own solution and check that completely. So everything is sent over the Pepool network, but it's kept in a closed loop, and you can validate that everything is okay before you deploy this to the customers. Then we have done a lot to enhance the user experience inside BC to help you figure out what to do in terms of workflow and setup. Moving forward, we also have a roadmap because tons of things are happening in this space. Especially on the validation part, there's new validation rules coming out in January, so we'll of course adhere to them, and that's outgoing. There'll be a demand for ISO certification of the access point because again, people recognize that security is important, and ISO certification for security is one of these that we'll also, of course, move into. In the mapping, our philosophy is that we need to create something that's a lot easier than creating other XML ports, which I personally dislike, and I was the person at Microsoft who actually designed this, so I'm to blame for that. But I personally don't like them because there's a lot of things that they cannot do. And the other option is to do table where you do field mapping. So instead, we'll provide a scripting language inside BC that you can use from within the BC web client. So you can pop up a window and write the scripting that can change the document on the fly. And I promise you, this will be very easy to do. Again, it will require no AL coding or VS Code skills. So anybody who knows about the document standards and the BC tables can actually do this, and we want to make this as attractive as possible to people from the EDI world or people who works as functional consultants within the BC world who can do this fairly easy. Microsoft is also adding support for more document types. We'll support that as well, and of course we'll support the SUGFAT versions when they come out. There's a new initiative on e-reporting also from Pepol that's called VITA, which also will include VAT reporting to the government. This is already mandatory in countries like Turkey and most of South America, where they use it. But this will also come to Europe because it'll enable the governments to block for whitewashing and VAT fraud and these kind of things. So that I bet you this will be mandatory in few years. We'll add more additions to the user experience inside BC, and again, FONAV works in a way where we talk with customers and partners every week, and based on the feedback, we make changes to the product, and often these changes are done rapidly. So that's how we work, and we'll add more on the fly. So the first offering will be through the FONAV license, that you need a FONAV license to do this, but we'll also enhance that by having support for Transact through MS. Transact is a way that basically you can buy an app by using your credit cards and then set it up on your own. So that's fairly easy to use compared to the current process where you have to go to the end to get a license. So this will be an easy way of doing it. But let's go into a demo, and now I can get to what I really wanted to show you. So let's go back to Business Central in here. And first thing you need to have is the Pepol app, and you'll either get that from with the Microsoft 25X pieces, where we'll ship with that, or you can get it from AppSource. So I can go to the Pepol setup page, and here to set it up. First thing I need to do is to authorize it, and that's the part that René talked about. But fortunately, we have buried all that technology under a wizard in here, and I can just go through it and ask it to do it for me. So not to do all this on the system, and now it's authorized, and all the certificates and everything is in place for communicating with our Azure bits and Pepol. So in this case, you can see that test is turned on, and this is for sandbox and demo environment. This is always turned on because this enabled me to basically do things on the Pepole network that's not verified. If you want to have a real participant on the in the Pepole address book, you need to contact Jan, and we'll enable you for it, because we need to make sure that you're really who you are, and you don't. And avoid that you claim that you are IKEA or any company that can do fraud on the Pepole network. But to do the test setup, you don't require this, so you can simply go on and publish yourself to the Pepole address book. So now I'm on the Pepole address book. Next thing I want to do is to scan the Pepole address book to see which vendors and customers of mine are actually on this. And this is a sandbox, so there's not that many in here, but you can see there's these few ones in here with a different VAT number. And now I can simply enable these by clicking enable all, and now the customers and vendors are set up to use the for now Pepole access to send and receive documents. So now I'm ready to use the system. So if I go into BC, I can actually now go and create a sales invoice and send this. Create a new one. And to make sure that everything matches, we automatically create a test customer and a test vendor that called Fornev Test in here that you can use. You can tamper with these, of course, and change the country information and other part of it to test more. But we make sure that everything works out of the box, so there's no extra setup in here. So I'll put Jan in as a reference in here, which is a mandatory field, and I'll sell a disk to Jan. I think Jan has several hundred of these, but he needs another one in here, so I'll just send this. So I got a simple invoice and just to go and do post and send. And since we have done all the setup automatic and the workflow inside BC, this is now set up to do the sending of the invoice. And now it's on the way. If I go back to my Pepole setup, I can now go in and see what's really goes on behind the scene. Going to related, and I can see the outgoing document. So hopefully I should have the Fornev test up here. It's the document is processed, and down here I can see a preview of what I sent in here. Also, if you have a document that's like here, you have an error with the validation, and here it has a validation error, and also you can see the preview. But now remember that this will often happen. If it happens at the customer, and then you as a partner need to go in and react on this. To make this easier, we have created the possibility for the end customer to send an email to you. So in here you can see I have the attachment, so I have the preview, I have the document I created down here, and I have the validation error. So this enables the end user to actually go in and send this document to you, and you can react and figure out what's wrong with the mapping or other issues in here. So this will make support also easier for you at your end without having to go online and look at the customer system. But all these small things we put in all over the place to enable this to be easier to use. Next thing that happens is that when the recipient receives this invoice, you get something that you call an evidence in here, which is an XML document again. And this also has to go into BC, that tells BC that now this document has been received at the other end. And you can also see that since this is a test system, I automatically send this invoice to myself. So this is the top one. Again, I can see the preview of what's incoming in here. I can also from in here for test purpose go in and create the documents or create a journal line in here, but that's mainly for debugging. But let's look at the other end of this. So if I go to my role center in here, I go to Pepool documents. I can in here see my incoming documents in here, and again I can see the preview of what actually is going in here. So that these are just standard BC pages that we have enhanced again to make it more visible what goes on in here. And now I can go through the normal create document process in here. So if I had more time, I would actually have created a purchase order in here I could match with, and that would lead me to the Copilot setup and the auto matching, but I haven't done this in this case. So it says up here I need to start choose a document. There's no document. I can press cancel to create the document. So sorry, this is how the Microsoft View is created. I need to press cancel to actually do it. But it says up here, and now I'm in the purchase order, and I have the my Ascent desk in here and everything in place. Next thing I need to do is that I need to tell the other end that I can approve this or I can reject it, because that's also a part of the Pepool contract that I don't need to do this, but in most cases this goes through the workflow of doing this. So I can simply go and approve this. I need to wake it up. I need to tell it I need to use the FNAF service in here, and now it's approved at the other end. And now if I went to my inbox, I could see that again, since I'm still both the sender and receiver in here for this system, I got the approval back, and this will end up also showing up in the invoice that I sent. So we support the workflow end to end by both sending and receiving, and also by approving or rejecting the document. So everything is included in our setup, and we have really done a lot to integrate this into Business Central. So Jan, back to you.
Thanks, Michael. So let me just see if I can take over here. Here we go. You see my screen? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you can see your screen.
Good. So like Michael talked about very briefly, he talked a little bit about what's happening in Germany, and he also mentioned that a lot of things are happening in the different countries. One of our good friends and partners, Tabella, they made a white paper describing both what is e-invoicing and what should you think about it, but also they have specific pages on the different countries. So I can strongly recommend that you go to their website and download this white paper, which gives a very good idea about what is going on in the different countries. Another example, a little bit similar, is Deloitte in Belgium. They have this overview, also including Asia and a number of other countries outside of the EU. And what their requirements are. So that's another source of finding and staying updated on this kind of information. Of course, we are trying to keep ourselves up to date, but as Michael also mentioned earlier, things are really moving extremely fast. So it would be good for you to have other sources to make sure that you are fully updated on what's going on in your geography. Again, as we talked about, this is included in the FNAF license, and what we didn't mention earlier, and which I like to stress here, is that this also means that the pricing for using Pepool with FNAV is fixed. So we don't have like a transaction cost per document. We have seen examples of I think up to 20-25 cents per document for sending it via Pepool, and of course that can easily be pretty costly. And I think also most customers, they like to have a predictable cost on this. We do have a fair usage clause, but that's pretty high for most customers in the PC world. Good thing is we got a ton of questions, so I hope you are ready, Michael. So I think let's take a look at them from one end. And the first one is actually about pricing. Let me just see if I can find it here. So first one is, how many service hours are needed to set up the e-invoicing extension, and can it be licensed individually? And while you prepare for the service hours, Michael, let me answer the one about individual licensing. So like I just said, it is included in the price. It is a fixed price, so no transaction cost. We might at a later point in time have a price for this only, but that's still to be decided. So Michael, you want to talk about setup? I mean, you showed how easy it is, so I don't think we talk about a lot of hours here, but any thoughts?
It's basically a 5-minute setup to get the base Pepool functionality. However, if you need to customize the document, then it can be hours, and if you need to create your own XML port, that can be a huge product. But given that we will put in the scripting, so if you know you are doing just adding a field would be half an hour to put in the code and test it. So we are on the sub 1 hour range, but for that you need our scripting experience. If you want to do something simple, you can also use the data exchange framework, and in there you can also do mapping, which is fairly simple, and that can also be a sub 1 hour task if it's just mapping one field to a value.
Good. So we have a lot of questions, so let's move on. And I hope you know what this is, Michael, but Sarah asked, does the SUGFAT format also support PTE reports?
Per tenant extension, so yes, they do. So on a website, there's a piece of code you need to put in to enable that. But if you have a FNAV report, we detect this automatic if this is a sales invoice or credit memo report. So FNAV reports, they are automatic enabled with a SUGFAT. If you want to use this with RDC or Word report, there's a piece of code you need to put into your L code. So yeah, the answer is yes.
All right. Next question from Sander is, FNAV e-invoicing only available for SaaS or also older on-prem BC versions and NAV versions?
Yeah. So our current SUGFAT and Regnum solution works for on-prem and cloud for 20.4, I believe. And for the new invoicing bits, you need to be on the latest bits. That's BC25, and that'll also support both on-prem and cloud. So sorry, we will not go back to the old versions because we really rely on the Microsoft bits in there. Otherwise, we had to create the whole solution from scratch back there. But there are great solutions out there that can do this.
Jennifer just wrote 20.3, but I guess that's for SUGFAT only, right?
Yeah, that's SUGFAT only. Yeah.
Is it also possible to link the imported SUGFAT invoices to a purchase order? If you don't do this and you only post a purchase invoice, then the purchase order remains open.
Yeah.
I think you demonstrated that.
No, this is about SUGFAT. Actually, this is Dirk asking. So Dirk, we cannot do this currently. So it's a good thing. We will add that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which parts works on BC version 21 and on-prem? I think we already talked about that. You want to add anything?
SUGFED stuff works on that and X-Regner, both for on-prem and cloud.
Then Arthur asks, is there a reason why we need an intra app where other VARs doesn't require this step, if I'm not mistaken? It would be ideal if the setup could be done without friction.
Yeah, so the problem here is that I don't know about what Continua is doing, that other solutions, they have a database where the in and outgoing documents are, and then you pull that basically to get the data. Our philosophy is that to get the data into BC, so we have an API page that's secured, and you can only write to it, and things are being removed after you've written to it. That's why we need the Entra app to put it in. And this is by design. We don't want to have Cosmos documents sitting on our website at all. So this is why we need the Entra app.
Okay, and then another question from Arthur: will FANAP also be added in the base app for Microsoft as an access point? It's not on the roadmap, it seems. That's a very good question, Michael.
It was actually as in the slide before the roadmap. It will be included in the base app. So there's a group of ISVs who have been invited by Microsoft to be in the base app, and we are part of that process. But it looks like it will take on until the mid of next year before these extensions are actually going to be included. So we'll basically ship our own extension really soon, and you can use that, and then you can use the base app pieces if you want to switch with that. So we'll make up to you if you want to use things in the base app or our own app. But our own app will also include these enhancements.
Then we have a couple of questions from Koen. Will it be possible to include the original PDF document from the sales reporting in the XML document for Pepool?
Yeah, you can do that. We already have requests for that, but you need to have a customization. So basically, in the you have to subscribe to a Business Central and then run the report to get the PDF, and then put that into the document. And there's the document standards support, so you can do this. So the process is known. You just have to write the code to do so.
And then the next question from Koen: is it possible to set up the connection to only send documents by the access point and not receive documents by the access point of FANAP?
Actually, no.
But that is because of Pepool requirements, right?
Yeah, that's you cannot. Pepool does not allow one way. But of course, if you don't set up the vendors in there, you basically won't. They end nowhere. But Pepool, there's nothing that can go in and block things. Of course, we could create a functionality where we automatically reject whatever comes in. I think that would be the only thing that Pepool could accept. So automatically go, if something comes in, we would simply send a reject immediately to do that. But the answer currently is we cannot do this.
What if the user in BC forgets the your reference field? Can you change this after the document is booked so you can still send the document by Pepool?
So I tried this, and you're blocked by posting, I believe, because I'm a bit insecure, because in previous version of BC you could get away by not filling out your reference, and you would have a posted invoice. But this is more end of day. This is a Business Central issue that we cannot stop it.
Michael.
Yeah.
I've tried this, Michael, and you can't post an invoice if there is no your reference field.
Good. Okay, so that answers the question. So they actually fixed it.
There are a few questions from Manfred. Is there an error? If there is an error, is the document posted /send?
Yeah. So the if everything works, then it's if the document is a valid Business Central, including your reference, then it'll be posted. But the next problem is that if something goes wrong with the mapping, then you can actually fix the mapping and then resend it. That's part of the basic Business Central functionality. So posting is one thing and sending is another one. But if there is an error, it's basically blocked by us in the validation that we do, and it's not sent, and you get an error back that you can react on.
And then incoming document. Yeah, we have a long list, Michael, so I think we need to try to keep it short. Incoming document creates purchase order line, not as item, but as GL account.
Yeah, this is basically I'm not an expert in this, but this is something you set up.
Yeah, and we use standard BC for this, right?
Yeah, so we just supply the document, BC does the rest, but that's a way of doing this. So so maybe we should use Manfred as a consultant because this is hairy stuff that's in there. But it's basically BC that handles this. So
okay. Yeah. Ulrich asks, are the new incoming documents automatically scheduled retrieved from the Pepool network?
So this is where we are different than the other solutions. If there's an incoming documents, it's not a batch process. It comes into your inbox and it's processed immediately. So there's no scheduling on this.
Then Jens asks, can you handle different, i.e. payment means per country in Pepool BIS 3.0 by setup in current version? Same company can send invoices to DK, Sweden, Norway customers, and requirements are different here.
Yeah. Again, this is handled by BC. I don't know the answer for this. Do you know, Nathan?
No, not at this moment.
Oh, okay. But that regarding this is a question from Jens. So there's a lot of these things that has to do how BC handle this, and the best thing is to point this to Microsoft and ask them because there's BC can do tons of stuff, but there's still holes in it because this is a completely new area of them, and they are really eager to get feedback on this. So we are in contact with them several times every week to hear what they're doing about this. So they're reactive, but they cannot do everything at the same time.
Okay, very interesting question here. What is the process and timing needed if a customer already has a Pepool service running somewhere else and wants to change to your service, to our service?
Yeah. So it's different for each service. So in some cases, you can go into a portal and get a key to change to us, and we need to type that key in. So it's a process. You need to send this key to us. Another option is to basically delete yourself from the current access provider and then simply create it at ours. And if you want to get rid of us for some reason, you simply unpublish, and then you're free to do whatever you want to. So it's not a big thing. And of course, you need to go into BC and fill in the other provider. So it's to get rid of us is not a big deal if you enough want to do that. So.
Then we have a question here about, do you have anything about reconciling items? I only saw the assignment to general ledger accounts, but again, I guess that's standard BC. You just showed an example.
Exactly, yeah. And again, Business Central can do a lot in this area, and they are adding to this all the time. So, yeah.
How do we handle tax category code field in the exemption reason VATEX information? Wow.
Wow.
I think we have to come back on that one.
Yeah, send a question to support@fnav.com.
Yeah.
But end of day, Business Central is doing this for you, so it's not really in our hands, except if you're talking about Sukfat.
Is the PIN formal Pepol International on your roadmap as well?
The PIN form, yeah. Great questions. I didn't want to confuse people. There's an upcoming formal called PINT that will over time replace the BIS3 format, so that will support both PINT and also the new VAT format that comes out there. So that's part of our roadmap.
Okay, then Mark asked if he got this right. I can set a flag for every Debitor customer in BC if he should get the invoice as Sukfat or X-invoice or still normal PDF using document layouts.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. And then last question, will the new scripting mapping functionality also be available for Sukfat? So far this has been done via AL triggers.
Yeah, the answer is yes.
Okay, good. That's a nice answer to end with, and I'm sorry we are 1 minute over the hour, but thank you very much for listening, and have a great day.